So for most of you who have actually clicked this thumbnail, it's not because you have relationship issues. It's because you probably want to spice up something in your relationship. And the information we give here today will be very handy, and you will just want to make do with this information. And that's why you're here. And for some of you also, it's because you probably have loved ones that you want to just share this information with so they can get to understand how to maintain a relationship, or also how to identify when relationships are about to fall out. The reasons why most people fall out of relationships. And you will get to see that very handy in this video. Please watch this video to the end so you get to understand exactly why people fall out of relationships. There is something in this video that will concern you. So I'll just want you to stay to the end of this video so you can get a full package, full understanding, the full information of what we're trying to discuss today. Okay? We'll be right back. Welcome back, guys. So this is something very important, and I really want to take my time to, just take you through it so we don't really leave anything out, because if you guys have made out time to watch this, it should be very productive and very, very informative. So it can help you in the long run, either help you or help someone you probably want to share this information with. Some of you guys have taken out time to listen to this, to watch this, either on your phones, your laptop, or on your TV. I wouldn't want to waste much of your time. If you're new here, please, I just want to urge you to subscribe to this channel and also to hit the notification bell there. And this is just to let you know each time we come up with a new content or to drop a new video, you will be among the first persons to get to see this, okay? Thank you so much. So let us go straight into what we're about to discuss today. Why do people fall out of love, marriages, and relationships? What are the contributing factors that make people to fall out of relationship? I won't want to waste time with this, but before I go in properly, I just want to give you like a premise just to understand exactly what this whole relationship is all about. Relationship matters are really very tricky discussions. A lot of people find it very hard to understand where they are at the moment in terms of understanding exactly what they want in a relationship. And also sometimes you think the relationship you have here or just now is what you need. And in the long run, they get to understand that this is really not what they want. So it's a very tricky discussion. For the most part, also, people do not really want to be very vulnerable with such discussions. But I think it actually helps you to understand exactly what you need to be doing just now in the relationship you are. And if there's any improvement you need to just add to it, some of this information can come in handy. And that's why we're trying to make this video. If we are to start to understanding how relationship actually unfolds, you would understand that relationships are built by one person finding the other person useful or needed. As complex as relationships are, I will just try to see if we can break this down and make it come out very simple so we can understand exactly what this is. In a relationship, we understand that a lot of things come up to make up what relationship is. For most people, relationship is not anything conventional because there are a lot of complexes. Relationship matters are not very simple matters. They are really complex matters to discuss. And we will just try to see how to just help you with 6 factors to actually explain this. Okay, so how I actually start with this is relationships are built by first someone walking up to the next person and saying, I want you in my life, or I see you as someone who complements my life. That's how relationship starts. 90% of the time, men make the approaches. Women do not approach men. It's very, very unusual to see women try to approach men in relationship situations. Most of the times, men do the first approach, or men try to make the first approach. That's how it is. And biologically, also the male genes are known to traveling to the female genes in many biological processes. You see in pollination, you also see that anthers. You also see that to the sigma. And also in women conception, you see the drive from the spermatozoa to either the ova or the ovum. That's the drive. You get to see that in even lower animals like goats. You get to see a 2-month-old goat. You see the goat struggling to climb the female. And this is just between 1 month of being born. So this is biologically evidence enough to letting us know that men are actually driving towards women to actually get them to be in their lives. So these are just facts that we need to lay down. So when you get to hear women say, but why are men coming to us? It's a biological process that men can never stop coming to women because that is what they want. They want something from women. They want your companionship. They want your love. They want you to fulfill a need in their lives, and they want you to proudly compliment them. And that's why men are always going out looking for women. You hardly get to see women going out the other way looking for men. It's just a little percentage of women who actually practice that. When they see what they like, also they try to make moves, give you the green light as well for you to also try to actually come up. Because most times when women give you the green light, they are not asking you out literally. They're just giving you the green lights to make you understand that they want you to do the needful, which is you approach first. So I'll just want to lay that foundation there. And also, relationships are not conventional. I've said it severally. Relationships are not based on rules that must be applied on each relationship to make it successful. Relationships are guided by different principles. And for me, one of the principles I think also relationships are molded or guided upon would be who is asking who out and who is receiving. Who is saying, I want you in my life? And who is saying, okay, I want to be in your life. I want to come to be in your life. Who is making the move and who is saying yes? That's one factor I really also want to understand. The second factor I want to get into understanding relationship positions would be what geographical environments do this relationship take place? What is the cultural foundation, the cultural base, the geographical location of such places where these relationships take place is also very vital, very, very important to understand the longevity or how these relationships actually pan out in the long run. The third point for me in trying to understand how the foundation of relationships can actually be built will be emotions, the emotional status of these two people coming together. These three factors gives me a very good foundation to understanding what relationship is all about. So having said that, let us go straight into understanding exactly why people fall out of relationships.
Him with disrespect, a man will simply log out. If he's even a good man, he might not marry someone else. I know some evil men that will just move on. They will vashti you, banish you, and go and look for an Esther, one small fine girl that they can just replace you with. I'm trusting God that your husband is not that kind, but I'm talking about men who are even Christian and godly. They will just log out. They say anything they want to tell you, shout at them, talk to them anyhow. Men hate disrespect, and that is the mistake married women make. They disrespect their husbands constantly. No matter how annoying your husband is, no matter what you want to tell him, there must be a way you can tell him respectfully and prayerfully.
Okay, so the number one factor why people fall out of relationships would be money. Money. A lot of people see money as a factor that can give them comfort in any environment, in any position. So when you don't have money, it becomes a problem to enjoy a relationship as it were. For the most part, people will also tell you that money is very, very important in a relationship. So if you look at when I was talking about men are always going out looking for women, men must go out to look for women because traditionally, biologically, that's how it should be. So if a man is actually out there trying to find someone to complement him, trying to find a life partner, trying to find someone who can emotionally support him, he has to put his best foot forward. And sometimes it's not just your character. Sometimes it's not just your look. Sometimes it's not just how you talk. The major part of it is when you can actually show that you're financially stable. And most women will not actually look at you properly or look at you with the best of eyes if you're not coming in financially stable. So your character, how you speak and how you dress, the kind of job you have and all of that may not really play a very vital role in what a woman sees in you when you approach. There are a lot of women who will tell you that that really does not matter. But majority of women will tell you income, your financial placement and stability is one of the major reasons why they need to consider you, because they feel every other thing will probably add up. But your financial stability, if it's not there intact, it actually messes a lot of things up. So financial stability for women is very, very paramount. And sometimes a lot of people will argue that it's not just women looking out for men who actually have money. Men are also looking out for women who have money so they can actually, have lesser struggles in life. But we're looking at the percentage of men going out looking for women to actually augment their financial lifestyle is very, very minimal compared to the number of women looking out for men to help them manage their financial lifestyle. So we need to actually compare that. So majorly, financial stability, money, income is one of the major reasons why people fall out. The lack of it is one of the major reasons why people fall out of relationships. People do not really want to be in a relationship that they cannot afford the basic things of life. They cannot be able to go out as a couple, have a nice time, and all of this is actually money driven. If you don't have money, how can you go out, go on vacations, How can you go out for a very nice family time out? How can you buy gifts? How can you? It's really, really difficult without money. So most people will tell you money is one of the major factors why people fall out of love, why people fall out of relationship, why people fall out of their marriages. The second reason why I think most people fall out of love, or most people fall out of relationships or marriages, is sex. Yes, sex is a very strong weapon in relationships. 90% of the times, relationships are sex-driven. The sex industry, or the beauty and sex industry, is one of the most thriving industry in the world. There is a lot of naivety in the activity of sex in relationships. A lot of ladies have said more men leave. Men have actually left most of the times after the deed has been done, and it's something very relatable. It's like when it comes to sex, a lot of men are coming in to actually get to satisfy a certain need, and that would be a sexual need. And that's why we hear the narrative that when a woman actually cheats, it's more dangerous, it's more disastrous, because a woman is cheating because she likes who she's cheating with. She likes who she's sleeping with. But a man can actually be with, a man can actually have sex with someone he doesn't like at all. But he's just trying to satisfy his sexual need. And that's why it's very dangerous for women to actually cheat. That is a part that is a very tricky one. Men are saying, why would a woman cheat? And women are saying, why should men cheat? Men are saying, we cheat, but we actually don't get involved emotionally. You cheat, and we know you get involved emotionally, and that's why we hate the fact that you cheat. Women are saying, no one should cheat. Men are saying, you have never drawn the line. From time immemorial, men have always been in the act of cheating, and women have never drawn the line. And what it means by drawing the line is, we don't have women constantly leaving their husbands, leaving their spouses, leaving their partners on the grounds of cheating. There's always this part where a woman says, I have forgiven you. It is rare for a man to forgive a woman that cheats. That's where the men have drawn the line. The women are in that practice of letting the men go scot-free, forgiving the men when they cheat. The women have not drawn the lines of saying, if you cheat, I will leave. And if you have like 90% of women leaving when their men are caught cheating, then that will be a very perfect line drawn. But guess what? When a woman cheats, the men, 90% of the times, the men leave. A man can never stand a woman who has cheated. He will leave. And that's the line that men have drawn. So sexually, there is this indiscriminate exercise and practice from men to actually go out there in search of sex. And when they actually get it, they are always moving to the next one. They are always moving to the next one. And for the most part, a lot of men actually get to meet women they don't like. And after the deed is done, they move to the next one. A lot of women will tell you that they've had more men leave them after the deed has been done than they actually have men staying. So sex is one major factor where relationships just fall apart. So the naivety I want to talk about is from the angle of women. Most women do not understand this, and I try as much as possible to let women understand that the foundation that a man actually comes to meet you should be right. If the foundation is not right, no matter what you do, this man will leave after he has gotten what he wants, and that is sex. 90% of men will actually come in with the most beautiful vibe, will come in with money, will come in with gifts, come in with all those juicy stuffs, and in the end, they probably just get what they want and they leave. You can also see that in what just happened between Sophia and Burna Boy. That's why men are really not talking about it. The women are very angry because she probably went in with a motive to get a Lamborghini. But guess what? She also has an emotional contribution to that, because most women will not actually avail themselves sexually if they don't have that emotional connection with you. Men, 90% of the time, do not have that connection emotionally with you. They have that as some form of an exercise to belch, and when they belch, they walk away. But the naivety in women, or the lack of seriousness to understand this, is always something that is a big shame. They really don't understand. Women should understand that when a man actually comes into your life, it should be something very fruitful. But how would you know? Put him to a test. No man wants to stay in a place longer than he should if he's not getting the deed being done. If that exercise, the sexual exercise, is not something he's going to get, a man thinks it twice. He leaves there immediately. It's not really making yourself available sexually that will keep him. So you need to be very proactive to safeguarding yourself sexually in this relationship to see if this man actually stays for you or if it's actually saying because of the sex. So women need to come out of that naivety and actually make a sense of themselves in any relationship. And if you also want to go deeper into some of the damages sex does to relationships that are not built on the right foundation, you would also get to see that The sex aspect that destroys relationship could be low performance. You know, if you have a relationship where one of the couples actually is not involved sexually, it tends to also give reasons to why those relationships fall out. If the man is not really good in bed, the woman actually, finds her way out. And also, if the woman is not sexually, creative or sexually involved, the man finds it very boring and they actually walk out. If both parties are not really in line or in tune with what they give sexually, the relationship is actually bound to end, as it were. So that's a major reason why sex is also a factor that makes a lot of people to fall out of love, to fall out of relationship. The third reason why I think most relationships fall out would be laziness. A lot of people are very lazy after they've gotten their spouses, they've gotten their partners, they've gotten their wives, their husbands, and they eventually begin to have the attributes of being very lazy. You are not as forthcoming as you used to. You are not as dedicated as you used to. You don't go out for dates. You don't make yourself available for dates. You're always very busy. You don't compliment your partner. You don't tell him or her the good things you used to tell each other when you were courting or when you were dating. All of that has now gone into the drain because of laziness. So relationship requires a lot of effort. It's really hard, but you require a lot of efforts to keep a relationship. If you don't make out time, you don't look for more creative ways to improve your relationships, it will die. And that's why a lot of people who are more creative get very angry that they don't get seen from their partners. Some who are very vocal, some who are really loving, they want to make out time, they don't get that because the other partner is lazy because of one or two factors known to him or her. That relationship completely dies. And one of the partners, despite whatever love that existed before, that lack of commitment or the laziness characteristics that has come into play just makes them want to give up. So they actually walk out of those relationships. Laziness from couples can make a partner to fall out of love. You used to tell her very good stories. You used to be very, very close. You used to make dinner for your husband when he comes back. You used to prepare breakfast. In fact, you used to fix his tie before he goes to work. All of that has actually gone down the drain because you now feel you have him or he feels he has you. So there is just no effort to making this relationship work. A lot of people are going through this right now. Laziness is going to make you lose your relationship. You're not putting in enough effort. You're not trying to make it work. You're not spicing it up. And that is one of the reasons why most people also fall out of love, their relationships, and their marriage. So the fourth reason why most people fall out of relationship is communication. Communication between couples, partners, husbands and wives is a very vital part of keeping a relationship. The time you begin to show lack of communication, dents a big blow to the relationship. So when couples begin to communicate less, there is a big lacuna that actually feels there, and that's when they begin to fall apart, as it were. So lack of communication compared to when this relationship started becomes a very big problem. When you guys started dating, communication was like top notch. In fact, some of you ladies actually chose this men because they are very good with communication. But right now, the communication is zero. So why is that happening? Is it because they've had their fill, or is it because they are tired of the relationship? Is it because they've known you too well, or is it because they think they have you for keeps and no one else can take you away from them? They begin to feel very entitled, and most times, men or women in that situation would not like to have a spouse that does not communicate openly or does not communicate constructively. And this is one of the major reasons why most couples fall out of love and also fall out of relationship. Communication is a very vital tool in relationships where both couples can express themselves in good times and also in bad times. Communication at that time becomes a very vital tool to forge on as a couple and forge on as a family. When communication is lacking in a relationship, it becomes a very big problem. I've heard a lot of people who say they find it very difficult to understand why their men are not as communicative as they were at the beginning of the relationship. Something must have actually gone adrift, and that's why most people fall out of love or relationship. So the fifth reason why I think most people fall out of love and out of relationship is the content upstairs. Couples who are not brilliant upstairs tend to become like a burden to their partners. When you have a partner who sees you as someone who is not brilliant enough, but probably didn't notice that when he was asking you out or when you were saying yes to him, but in the long run, you're beginning to now see that this my spouse doesn't know anything. You're obviously beginning to see that this guy is very whack upstairs, or this girl or this lady does not really know much in life. So when you want to have this communication with her, you just want to have this conversation with her, most of the time you just see that there's nothing upstairs to offer. I know a lot of people who are in that circle, they find it very difficult to understand why they didn't see this at the initial stage. And that's what we're talking about priority. We're talking about the foundation of what you really want in the spouse or in the girlfriend you're looking for, in the man you're looking for. If you probably have dated for a while, you would have laid a very good foundation to understanding this person much better. Because if you have stayed with your spouse for 2 years and you're just beginning to know that he or she is not as brilliant that you actually thought from the start, then that would be very, very worrying, because these should have actually been some of the factors you look through, you want to define, you should have defined before you actually go into the relationship proper. So it boils down to what were your priorities before you actually had this relationship started. Okay, a lot of people are complaining, a lot of people are saying their spouses are not as brilliant as they thought they were. You were very spontaneous. You could talk very brilliantly. You could make some examples out of nothing. You could actually make sense. But right now, nothing is coming. Like when we talk, you sound flat. When we go out to, sit down with people to talk, you talk flat. When we have family meetings to talk, you talk very, very low IQ. And she's just looking at you, and he is just looking at her. Something is not adding up. After 2 years of marriage, I'm beginning to see that you can't really be confident to reason out things before me or before anyone around you. So that would actually be trivial for a lot of people. But some people still feel that if a spouse is not brilliant upstairs, it's a big lie. I've heard of someone who is a doctor that says he wouldn't dare marry someone who is not in the medical field, because marrying someone outside the medical field would not be compatible in terms of the ability to reason at his level. That's what he said. And I've also heard someone who said, I can't actually marry someone who is not a lawyer. So a lawyer is actually looking to marry someone who is in the legal field, so they can actually reason together and be at par when they actually reason together. So a lot of people lack the ability to be very brilliant in their relationship, and that has made a lot of people also to fall out, and that's also a big one there. Before we actually go to the sixth factor why most people fall out of love or relationships, please want to urge you to subscribe to this channel. Hit the notification bell so you get to see any new content we put on YouTube for you. Okay, I'll be very grateful to see the numbers increase because you have actually come on board. So the sixth factor why I think most people fall out of love and relationship is hygiene. Hygiene is a major factor why people fall out of relationships. You get to see people who are very vibrant, smell well, shave, look very beautiful, make your hair as a woman look very attractive. You dress very brilliantly. You smell good. You look fine and beautiful. But now that you found the woman and now you found the man, you're no longer putting up those standards. And this, for the most part, is a very big problem for a lot of people. If I'm coming into a relationship and I know you to be someone very clean, someone very tidy, someone that dresses looking very posh and spot on, and when we get into the relationship and I'll see you differently, that becomes a problem. So these can make people to fall out of love. If you ask me, these are the 6 reasons why I think people fall out of love, out of relationships, and out of their marriages. Thank you so much, guys, for sticking on. I'm really, really happy you guys can stay to the end of this video. I hope this helps you in your life, in your relationship, or your loved ones and your friends. Thank you guys for sticking on to the end of this video, and I'll see you guys next week with a very wonderful topic to discuss. Thank you guys. Twali.